Hello, 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 and welcome back to my channel. I'm Paul, also known as Sissy Artist, hence the channel name, and you are joining me today with the tippy-tapping of a certain dachshund in the background while I'm trying to record the audio for this, and also you're going to be witnessing an experiment. Mwahaha. Not nefarious at all, I just felt like doing the mwahaha. It might be the heat while I'm recording this because it is hot as balls in the UK today. So I'm doing an experiment. The colours that you see being put on the canvas at the moment, you will not have seen in the snapshot of the piece. I'm doing a Nova flower with Amsterdam Pearl Paints, which, as you will see later, they look fairly white, fairly creamy when you pour them out, and they do best on dark backgrounds. So I am using unadulterated Pthalo Blue, Pthalo Turquoise, and Pthalo Green. So, you know, I just put the blue on the canvas there, the turquoise is in the middle and the green's on the outside. Those of you that know a lot about phthalo colours will know that these dry almost black. They are so the bit that I'm blowing out at the moment will be a blue shade of black, but will look almost black on the canvas. It's amazing, they look gorgeous when they're done. And then Pthalo Turquoise is a turquoisey black, and Pthalo Green, I hear you say, is a greenish black. And they are amazing. They don't look like it when they're wet. When they dry, they just do this thing, and it is amazing. I first realised that Pthalo Green did it when I was doing a piece that I needed the background to be a very rich, vibrant green, and it looked amazing. Then it dried almost black. I went in with some other green paints to make it work, but yeah, that's what they do. And as I had the three phthalo colours, I decided to mix them together. The Pthalo Turquoise and Pthalo Green are by Rowney. The Pthalo Blue is X4 Acrylics, which is the brand of acrylics I tend to use quite a lot in my paintings, as you will no doubt know from watching all of the many videos. Speaking of the many videos, like, subscribe, join the channel, join our gorgeous artistic community of weirdos and artistic wonderful people. And that's, yeah, just join really. And also every Wednesday I'm putting out a Sissy Artist relaxation session, which is a previous video that's been released with this bit taken off, so you won't hear me droning on about art, but just some royalty-free, gorgeous classical instrumental music, so you can watch the art be created and listen to some lovely relaxing music. I did it on Wednesday because it's hump day. It's released in the evening in the UK. So hopefully it's something that you can look forward to and get through the rest of the week with. Those of you who are eagle-eyed will notice that there is another canvas just off to the right. That is another piece that I did with the pearlescent paints and Pthalo Green, as you can see, very dark there. That was drying at the same time, so that will be, I think, next week's video. I did a set of 3 triangular canvases, which are really fun and funky. At this point, having blown everything out, I'm just putting a bit more blue in because it hasn't gone quite where I needed it to on the canvas. And you will notice from this one that I'm doing not my usual Nova flower design. I'm doing it from the corner instead of midway through the canvas. I really wanted this to have a lot of negative space and to take up more of the canvas, and for it, I just liked it as a design idea, and thankfully it turned out to be amazing and epic. A lot of my design ideas, I just think they're cool. You see the amazing and epic ones, the ones that don't go quite so well. I don't necessarily publicise that I did them, because I want you all to live under the illusion that I'm amazing. And at this point I'm putting in the black. So that's just CF Acrylics Mars Black, and that will be spread out just in the corner. I got a really weird angle on this video, peeps, I'm really sorry. So yeah, that was, the black's just been blown out just to get the, I suppose it would be the seed pod of the flower if it was a flower, but this is kind of a star going nova, possibly, not entirely sure. You can decide what you think it is at the end. So the technique that I'm using is a swipe using a silicone spatula that I actually got from Asda. It's a kitchen utensil, but it gets it's useful for, well, what I use it for. As I'm recording the audio, I didn't realise that this bit, there was quite so much of a gap when I was doing this. And this is actually at double or triple speed. So I will, at this point, have been mixing, well, adding probably a little bit more water to the paints, as I'd already used them on one set. They may have thickened up in the cup a little bit. So that's the first layer down, and the paints that I used were, so I used all of them on this one. Yeah, I did. So it's Amsterdam Pearl Red, Pearl Yellow, Pearl Blue, and Pearl Violet. And that will just be one of them. I can't remember the order that I actually put them down. It doesn't really matter, and as you can see on camera, that just looks to be a white paint that I've just put white on top of white. I haven't. These are different shades, and you will see the effect that they give. You start seeing it as soon as the swipe happens. Thankfully, this was only my second time using these, and my first time using them in a swipe, so I was not entirely sure that this was going to work at this point. I've just got the heat wand going over the whole of the painting. That's to get the air bubbles to rise up through the paint and burst while the paint's still wet, so you don't get pinpricks on your canvas. And as you can see there, I had just done the first flower petal. It does go around the rest of the canvas, so you're going to be able to see the rest of it. It does look cool, honestly, guys. That's guys, gals, and non-binary pals. The reason why I use peeps, by the way, is it's the easiest non-gendered collective word that works in my brain, because my brain does defer to guys, which, whilst it's, generally a lot of people will think that that's non-gendered as it's used collectively for everyone by a lot of people. Non-binary people are, from my non-binary friends, feel excluded from that. So that's why I use peeps, or you wonderful people. It's all about the language that we use and trying to make our non-binary siblings more comfortable in a world that just doesn't recognise them a lot of the time, and also our trans brothers and sisters. So that's it. And I'm getting on my soapbox again whilst I'm doing art in front. Well, I'm not doing art in front of you right now, I'm recording the voiceover. So with this, it's all in the wrist action. So I will do the bigger petals to start off with, drag them through, and then it's kind of a flick of the wrist at the end to get the kind of the curvy movement that it looks like it's blowing in the wind. And I will go through with these and always do the bigger swipes first, and then I usually come back in to do the smaller ones, but using more of just the tip or the corner of the spatula. And all at the same time you pay attention to the composition of the piece. That one I fluffed up slightly because I like the edge ones to actually be swiped in such a way that they fall over the edge of the canvas. So that's why there was more black in there. You have to put a bit more pressure on. So here I'm going through and creating another petal in there. And this piece, I'm going to tell you now, it made me work for it. Working with a different set of paints to what I normally would was challenging. And the other challenging part was not necessarily knowing what I'm going to get out of this, because the paints, while they're reacting and they're showing up a little bit at this point that I can see, you can't see on camera. I don't know why. I'm not smart enough with cameras to tell you why. You can't see how it's exactly going to turn out. Usually with acrylic paints, you can look at them, you know they're going to either dry the same colour or a bit darker if they're paints that you've worked with. New paints, you don't necessarily know that. This is why it's an experiment, so that I can get the skills to work with these type of paints in my what's that phrase? In my wheelhouse, or something that I can learn to use in my tool belt. So yeah, carrying on with these, I ended up going in and putting a lot more colours in manually and adding different ones in to try to make the effect go as I wanted. So while that's all going on, I'm going to leave you with some lovely music and a short sped up section. So what I'm doing here is what I call firming up the lines and creating extra shapes. Sometimes on Nova flower pools like this, you don't get the wispy end that you really want, and sometimes the petals don't, the shape just doesn't quite work. So what I tend to do when that happens is I will come in with the stirring stick, a little bit of paint on it, and draw the outline that I want. And then sometimes I come back in and I'll blow some extra colour in. So on this one, on the very tip of that, I've just drawn a bit more on there so it looks a bit more how I want it to, and so I get more of the proportions that I'm looking for. And here is the wet result. Apologies for my voice. Still getting over COVID when I recorded this. I used the Amsterdam Pearl Paints, and the shimmer effect that it's giving even when it's wet is amazing. Next time I do a swipe with them though, I'm going to have to work on my technique a bit because, yeah, the blue mixed in a bit too much on this, which is why I've spent so long fixing it, but I do just love the effect. Gosh, I hope it dries like this. And then the variegated colour at the back, 2 shades of Pthalo green, well, Pthalo green and Pthalo turquoise, and then Pthalo blue. So that's all going to dry pretty dark, almost black, some of it. So we'll see how this turns out when it's dry. And here is the dried result, drying on my, well, having dried on the wall in my living room. I didn't do a dried result video at the time, so you've got a couple of stills of it. On this one you can see how that background has dried almost black, as I told you it would. But you can also see the colours that are just popping out of the ether on this one. It really does look very spacey to me. And yeah, it reminds me of Star Trek Voyager intro, weirdly. But you can see the colour does also come out in the light. So I had the flash on for this picture, but thank you so much for watching. This was an amazing experiment, turned out so well. I've got a series of pearl paint videos that will be going on for the next few weeks. Like, subscribe, come back and watch next time. Bye bye.